Hello, everybody. We are your landlords, tapping out and flooding out so that you don't have to with the occasional screw. I am Hamhocks42, and I'm joined, of course, as always, by the one and only Astralsflame. Astrals, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right, Ham. It's a Monday off today. We're recording a couple days later than usually, but it's a holiday weekend. I got no complaints. I had a delicious coffee earlier today. I've been rocking on ladder. Well, maybe not so much rocking. I tried bundle green on ladder. That might have been a mistake. My rank certainly
Which
doesn't
is a
forgive me.
shame.
But
Which is a shame because Mono Green is it's in theory so much fun.
in theory,
It wasn't that long ago that it was pretty good,
yeah, it
but
was
as of late, yeah, it's been pretty rough.
maybe a year ago. Like green,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the topic for today. I think the best way to describe it
Oh, but
is I
yeah.
tried doing fair things against unfair decks, and I got punished for playing fair.
That's the funny thing is when you look at mono green, like the new Pelucranos, you've got Defiler of Vigor, you have Tribute to the World Tree. Those are the fair cards compared to the other stuff everybody else is doing.
Yeah, it's
That
like
is bananas.
play a creature, buff your board. Play a creature, draw a card. No, I'm just play a creature, draw like 5 cards, or
Yeah.
exile cards from the top, or board wipe, and still like, oh, okay, fine.
All right. Neat. Yeah.
Take my force and leave. It's fine. But
Yeah. In a format where farewell is legal and sees significant play, mono green is just not gonna have a good time. It's just not.
no,
Yeah.
it's not. Ban farewell. Ban farewell. Stay
Well,
with
actually,
me.
that is that is something that we can actually work into the discussion. So, what we're going to be discussing today, our first listing for all of you fine folks, is going to be just summer MTG news. So we're in the middle. So it's July as of this recording, and there's a lot of products on the horizon. Things are coming out, but it's been a while since we've had a standard set, and we have a number of months until the next standard set comes out. So it's kind of this weird zone for Magic players, especially standard players or arena players like ourselves, where we end up with kind of a lull. And right now, like Lord of the Rings is kind of tiding us over until we get the new stuff. And it's funny, actually, last year, Wizards released Baldur's Gate kind of in this same window. And that was fine. It gave us something to do and something else to kind of tinker with in the interim. But in the coming months, we have some events and we have some products that are going to be launching not in the not too distant future.
Mhm.
And one thing that's going to be coming up next month is there is going to be their first annual scheduled ban announcement that is going to be impacting multiple formats. They're going through their ban philosophy has changed with the current, with the standard rotation change, where they only want to be doing bans once per year if they can help it, and just hit every format at once in theory. And that's going to be coming up in August. And so it'll be interesting to discuss that, because knowing that standard isn't going to be rotating
Makes you
what's gonna be
wonder,
hit,
like,
maybe.
yeah, what'll be hit, how it'll be hit, what the rationale for hitting it
Mhm.
will be, especially before a new set, because we'd basically be going into August bannings into September new set, and then 3 weeks after a set is when they've announced we might do more bannings. So we could potentially see big shakeups or no shakeups. The standard is kind of like in that weird walking a fence at the moment for
Right.
August to September, but
Yeah, and this is also going to be the first time that we have the 3-year rotation schedule. So it'll be very interesting to see. And the meta has shifted pretty dramatically since the ban announcement. Getting Invoke and Fable. I mean, Fable and Bankbuster were like the two big ones. And then Invoke definitely shook some things up as well. So the moment those left, all of a sudden Control kind of stepped back up and started existing again, which, I mean, I feel like it just hadn't prior to that. And then a number of other archetypes have kind of stepped in to fill the void. And I'm really intrigued by that. And yeah, it's interesting to see how things are shaking out. And I feel like right now Standard's in this weird spot where it's like white-based control shells blitz your face off aggro, or these like 7-mana ramp to the moon packages that just do no combat math whatsoever, because by the time they have value, they have a full grip of cards and they have 3 of the most gigantic creatures in the game on the board, one of which they probably took out of your deck, and it's just absolutely bananas crazy. And I feel like those are kind of the decks that exist right now. And so it's funny when people are like, man, Farewell is like the most dominant, most awful card. Then you hear other people like, man, Atali is dumb. It's the dumbest thing. Atrax is stupid. Why is this here? And I feel like everybody has their own thing that they hate on. And oddly enough, now they seem to be all the really expensive spells.
Yeah, nothing. No one's complaining like anything that's like 4 mana or 3 mana or even 1 mana. Like I see no one calling for Monastery Swiftspear for a ban, which I mean, you know, not that it does, but you're right. Everything that's being called for is like 6+ mana and up. We're in a world where people are complaining about resolving a 7 mana card, and to me that is baffling. Because 7 mana is such a pivotal turn, and you're paying in 7 mana to cast like a devastating spell. Like, of course it's gonna do stuff. Like, what do you want to pay 7 mana for a 1/1 that just is like, oh, I just played by Woodwood and did it by hit? Like,
right. Like, yeah, it's gotta be good. Yeah. Well, but it's funny too because this is something that you and I've talked about in the past, where it's like it feels like if you get to 7 mana, you should just win the game. And the problem is right now there's a package in Standard that a lot of people are using, which is Topiary Stomper on 3 into Invasion of Zendikar on 4, and all of a sudden you've got 7 on 5, no problem. And actually, sometimes you could have like 8 or 9.
Yeah, it can be 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's insane.
On 5. That's nuts. Like, that's absolutely nuts. And then and it's funny, a lot of those decks, you know, that's a shell that when I look at that, I think, oh, this is gonna help me get Breach online. And those decks aren't even running Breach anymore. They're just running 4 Atraxas. They're just like, screw it. This is the card I care about, so I'm just gonna run all of these. And it's wild. They're hard casting Atrax on turn 5 consistently.
Yeah, and then you see the payoff, right? Draw like 5 cards, refill your hand, play another Atraxa, continuing on. And yeah, like Breach, I would say since Fable 2 Bankbuster has been banned, the amount of Breach decks has decreased and pivoted, right? We don't really see the Chandra Breach decks anymore, maybe a small percentage, but we've begun seeing like the Jace ones or Esper Breach. Because like you play in Jace the Perfected Mind, mill your opponent for 15, breach the multiverse, mill them for 10, bring back your Jace, mill them for another 15. That is 40 cards. They've already drawn at least their opening 7, not including however many turns of passance then. So like your opponent's library is basically devastated after just that sequence of like 2 cards.
Yeah, and if you draw another Jace in the mix, that's just for 4 mana another 15 cards. Just,
yeah,
it's silly. I've definitely pulled that off, and it feels great when it works.
It's
because I
funny.
can't tell you how many times you see people commit to the board, be like, okay, it's gonna be fine because I've got you dead next turn. It's like, no, it's just. Yeah, I'm just gonna nuke your library, and I don't really care what else happened. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a lot of fun for sure. But I also I love mill strategies. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people hate them.
Back away. No, I'm kidding.
I know. I'm a monster. I know.
It's fine. Like mill is
Whether
fine.
I'm milling myself or my opponent, I'm gonna have a good time. What can I say? Yeah, it's funny though, because actually the brute force mono blue mill that you see from time to time, that's just like turn 1 ruin crab. Crack a Fable, you know, or well, those decks, they always have the 2 crabs on turn 2, and then they have City's Laughter. It's like just City's Laughter, Maddening Cacophony, maybe Brewvax in the mix. Those I think of as the mono blue burn decks, and I don't know, I don't really have much patience for that because it's just so straightforward and so boring. You know, it's just kind of like
that's fair.
If your cards line up and it's fast enough, you just get it, and it's kind of like, all right, that's fine, but I find it uninteresting. You just like. How I don't play a lot of mono red, you know, aggro. No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly fine strategy, but it's just one of those things where it's like, if you hit the cards and you have 20 damage, you win the game and you can move on. Like, again, nothing wrong with it, but I don't find it interesting. Meanwhile, some of the stuff you can do with mill plans, like Jace were saying, and I have one historic deck that I absolutely adore. Actually, I think it's Explorer, or no, it's historic.
Okay.
With Torpor Orb, not Torpor Orb, the Mesmeric Orb.
Yes, untap a permanent mill too. Yeah.
Yep, Mesmeric Orb, and I use Mesmeric Orb and Altar of Dementia. With the Lord of Extinction.
Ah.
I went up in a friendly match against a 250 card deck. I milled them out with that setup. It was gross and awesome. So
that would do it.
Because if you can get multiple lords down, their power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in graveyards. So you sacrifice one of them, blow up hit your opponent for however many, and then it just grows exponentially. And it's a lot of fun. It got to a point where I think I had a Lord of Extinction that was like, I think at one point I used some kind of reanimation spell. I think it was a Brilliant Restoration to get like 2
Okay.
Lords of Extinction back, and they both had over 100 power and toughness, so immediately just Alter Dementia, game over. It was gross. It was very much a goofy like jank brew battle where things were getting weird, but in any event, that's that kind of style. That's my Abzan Mill deck, and if you think about Mill, that's not a combo you see. But anyway, I digress. That has nothing to do with what we were here to discuss. But sometimes you gotta appreciate the janky brews and celebrate the weird lines that you can find.
Well,
so,
and but like keeping on that note though, like especially in the time of where we're at, we need to keep interest in Magic, right? Like for Arena as a whole, we just had Lord of the Rings, but if you're not in Alchemy or Historic, or if you don't play Modern and Paper, Lord of the Rings may have just been a product you drafted. There's not really anything like new going on in the next few months. So you need some interesting ways to stay vested in playing and checking out new stuff. I mean, new brews are the best way to do it. And like, while we do have some new stuff coming up, it's not for Arena. It's going to be in Paper. Commander Masters, that's the next big set coming out. A little bit pricey, in my opinion. I think I was seeing pre-orders for 450, 500 Canadian for a box. Granted, it's a set booster box, which is 30 packs. Haven't seen that on the master set. Curious how that's going to work. I like the idea. But, the collector packs were back to 4 packs a collector box, like it was for double masters. So, have you checked out any information on Commander Masters? Like, are you looking to pick up anything for it?
I don't know that I'm personally going to be picking any of those up, although maybe. I'm very curious about some of the decks. The fact that there's the Eldrazi deck.
Yeah.
Like Zula Doc. Who the heck is that? And what is going on in that deck? Like, we have no idea, and that's very intriguing. Also, Commodore Guff.
Yes. Guff has a card.
I mean, that's fun. I don't really love Planeswalkers necessarily, so the idea of buying a deck that's like designed to function with Planeswalkers, like, yes, Commodore Guff being the helm or being at the helm is delightful, and it's intriguing. But by and large, I'm very much excited about the reprints driving some of the prices down.
Yeah.
The fact that Ur-Dragon and Jeweled Lotus are both included, I think, is fantastic.
Agreed.
And it bodes well for some of the other stuff we're going to see. The one that they haven't confirmed yet, but I would be shocked if it's not in there. Honestly, I'll be shocked if they don't take that cycle that the Ur-Dragon was a part of from Commander. I think it was 2016. They don't take that whole, was it 16 or 15?
I want to say it was 17 actually.
Oh, was it?
I feel like it was 2017 for the Ur-Dragon cycle. I don't remember all the Commander decks in it. Oddly enough, I didn't actually even buy the Ur-Dragon Commander deck because at the time I had a Dragon Commander deck already. So I was like, well, I don't need 2. I have enough dragons already.
Never mind that Ur-Dragon is just like the best commander for dragons that they've ever printed.
In fairness, I bought it for $20 back then, and like I know now it's like an $80, $90 card because reprint, but
yeah, that was Commander 17. You were correct. Yeah, okay. Good. Yeah. But so the fact that that's included, the other legends from that we have. I mean, the one that I'm really anxious to see is Edgar Markov.
That was the other one that was in that same cycle. And
if Eddie's not included, I'm gonna be.
I feel like they
a
have
little
to.
miffed.
No, yeah, they have to, because like Edgar's not had any reprints except for a Judge promo, and that promo is $250+. Edgar himself is ridiculously priced. Like I think Edgar is above the Ur-Dragon, if I'm not mistaken, price wise, right?
I think they're comparable. Actually, right now I believe that is the case, and I think since the reprint got confirmed, the Ur-Dragon may have dipped a little, but not by much. And yeah, no, I think Edgar is a little bit higher at this point. They've been kind of comparable, and it makes sense because they were in the same product, same print run, presumably, and they're both just the de facto. Like if you play vampires, you probably want Edgar Markov.
Yeah, just play Edgar.
Yeah, just play Edgar. Yeah. And if you're playing dragons,
just play Ur-Dragon.
You should probably just have Ur-Dragon as the commander, unless you have like a specific, build around that you're going for. Like if you're rocking Mirim, or if you're rocking, Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, or something like those are kind of their own unique dragons. Like I have a Teneb deck. It has nothing to do with dragons, but like if you're rocking Dragon Typal, then that's really where you want to be,
More or less, yeah. You have some other options, like there's Tiamat, there's Scion of the Ur-Dragon. You could even play Kyodai, the Soul of Kamigawa.
Yeah.
You got
Oh, I hadn't thought
options.
of that.
You got options.
Or I mean, whenever you're doing any kind of 5-color anything, you could just put Kenrith in the command
Yeah,
zone and call
or
it
just
good.
Kenrith dragons.
Just put Kenny up there and just
Yeah.
it's fine.
Kenrith lands.
Why not?
Kenrith planeswalkers.
I almost want to make like some kind of like mono blue deck and put Kenrith at the helm just to confuse people.
So I got your list right here. It's Kenny. You're still gonna play in Chromatic Lantern, so you can actually play him in the list.
Oh, perfect.
But you're gonna do Isochron Scepter, Dramatic Reversal, have a bunch of mana rocks, generate infinite mana, and then just make everyone draw cards with Kenrith. There you go. There's your deck.
I'm into this. Honestly, that sounds like my kind of nonsense. All right. Yeah, actually, okay. Yeah, target player draws a card. So yeah, you generate infinite mana.
No one else draws.
Everybody draw their deck out.
Yeah. And then if you really want to be
so dumb, I love it.
If you even want to be sillier, right? Just put in one Orcish Bowmasters, draw your deck until you find Bowmaster, play Bowmaster, then make everyone else draw cards. And you'll have an infinitely big army. And they'll die by decking themselves or die.
That is so excessive. I love it. All right. It's funny. I did actually once. I had an infinite mana commander deck with Tassiger at the helm.
Okay, yeah.
Because if you have infinite mana and Tassiger, you basically just draw your whole deck.
Right.
And it was designed to actually mill everybody out with Folio of Fancies. It was the way I did it.
Okay.
The problem was though, I ended up taking it apart because it kind of felt like a magic trick, or like a joke. It's like once you've already told it, once you've done it once, people are just like, oh yeah, I get it, and it's just kind of, it lost its luster because it was just like, yeah, I got infinite mana, I'm gonna do the thing. And like that first time you explain the thing and have people like, wait, what? You can, okay, it's kind of fun. But then after that, it was just kind of like when I brought it out again for the second time and then it won again, it's like, well, yeah, let's not do this anymore. And it just kind of, yeah, it lost its luster. And then I decided to build a deck around Door to Nothingness, which has kind of a similar, I'm going to build this really stupid, like janky machine that way shouldn't work. And let's see if we can make it work. And that's what that is. So, because I got to have one of those, man. I got to have the one commander deck that is just a goofy Rube Goldberg machine. I think that's very important.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Everyone needs at least, like, at some point, one deck that just is a weird amalgamation of stuff that does something cool. I can't personally say that I have one right now. I used to. I had a Fibblethip deck. And I would use Fibblethip and purposely shuffle Fibblethip into the list using a card called Proteus Staff. So Proteus Staff shuffles Fibblethip in, and then basically, because of the order of stack, Fibble goes in, shuffles in, Fibblethip's your only creature. You can reorganize your deck however you want and just draw on the entire library. What I did slightly different for a little bit of shenanigans, I played one creature in the list, aside from Fibblethip, so like, I would get until I hit either the reshuffled Fibblethip or the other creature. And the other creature was a Voracious Great Shark. And I just wanted, my thought when I made the deck was like, oh, this is sweet. Like, I can Proteus Staff to get a Voracious Great Shark and gotcha someone with the counterspell. And when I took a second read of Proteus Staff, I was like, oh, you can only activate this as a sorcery. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I still kept Great Shark in the list so I could flash it in and be like, "Rawr, Great Shark, your creature's countered. Get out of here." But yeah, it was a short-lived dream.
I love that though. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Honestly, that's the thing. If I were to do that, I would probably put in, like, I love that deck idea. I adore that. I would probably put like Polar Kraken or like Spawn of the Deep or one of those old, really gigantic blue things that's just goofy. I'd probably do something like that.
That'd be hilarious. Like the Adventures of Fibblethip, right? Where does Fibblethip end up?
That's fantastic. Yeah, Proteus Staff. That deck or that card brings back memories. Yeah, it's designed so it's a 3-drop artifact. You can pay 2 and a blue, tap it, put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library, and the creature can reveal cards from the top until they reveal a creature, and put it on into play, and the rest on the bottom. Yeah, and you can only play it anytime you can play sorcery. Yep. But the funny thing is, you put them on the bottom, and then you in whatever order you want. You don't. It's not random, which is something they've changed because of cards like this that allow you to do some really dumb stuff. And I used to play that back in the day with a bunch of token generators, no creatures, and Goblin Charbelcher. That was before MDFCs. And so what I would do is I would just hit a token, reveal my entire deck to my opponents, and then stack my entire deck so that the lands were at the bottom. And if I didn't have a Charbelcher in my hand, I would just put that on top.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. And yeah, it was one of those where it's just like, all right, next turn I 100% win unless you have unless you have some kind of life gain or you can kill me this turn. Like this is then I yeah, it's because you're about to get blasted real hard. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Charbelcher is a card I'd love to see a little bit more of in Commander. Like, I don't know, it's just it brings back fond memories.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with Charbelcher in general is that if you play it fairly, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Because you have to pick the target before you reveal the cards and have any idea how much damage you're dealing. And so, like, if you're targeting a 5/5 and you reveal like 3 cards and no mountain, it's like, well,
yeah, it's sad days.
It feels real bad. And so you kind of have to go face every time to make sure you get some value. But even then, you might just flip a land off the top and just that's that. It's yeah. So played fairly is pretty rough, and so as a result, the only time people play it is when they can completely break it and just do a one-shot kill with it. That's just how you play it now.
Just don't play lands. It's the easiest solution.
I mean,
don't play lands.
Yeah, MDFC's made that a lot easier. That's for sure.
Legacy makes it pretty easy too.
Well, yeah.
That's Legacy though.
That's Legacy though. But yeah, and this is interesting though, because we're at a point in the year where as a standard player, there's just not much going on.
Yeah.
You know, we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now. And if you want to keep jamming standard rock on, but trying to keep it fresh and interesting is really hard. And I know one of the things that I've been doing a lot as of late is actually playing more Brawl. Just historic Brawl is a format that I've been really enjoying. You know, because also, I mean, you'll get this though, as an Arena streamer, you know, it's like, well, we're continuing to play Arena. We need to be making content, we need to be doing something on this platform, right? And what can we do? It's like, well, yeah, playing Lord of the Rings is fun. Like, it's a fun draft environment. There are some cool things.
Yeah, the draft is actually really good. I will certainly say.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah, it's really fun. And it feels, I don't know, it's weird because there are new mechanics in it, yet it feels like just a classic draft format. It's like flyers and removal are good. You want those? Like, okay.
Land revolt.
Yeah. And Land revolt. I freaking told you, man. That card's great.
So the short story, like on our last episode of Landlords, Ham went through this amazing story of how he drafted Land revolt in the draft, and like
it was Land revolt and Arwen. The Selesnya Arwen. Those were the two that really carried me. But yeah.
So no, you're good. I had a draft last night I was doing. It was just a seal. I had a Land revolt, and I'm like, I have this sweet little Boros spell, and I'm like, oh, Land revolt. Ham told me about this. Ham said it was good. Let me try on Land revolt. Yeah, I went 7-1.
I believe
in my sealed because of Land revolt.
And how many games were you able to just like crack in for a stupid amount of damage because of Land revolt? Yeah, exactly.
I would play Land revolt,
parity, man.
And then a couple of the times I had either I top decked Aomar or I drew Aomar. So Land revolt was in play. I'd play an Aomar. It's got haste. I'd swing in. Oh no, my 5/4 with haste is flying.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah. Land revolt's awesome. Don't pass Land revolt. Yeah, just don't do it. If you're drafting Lord of the Rings, just pick it up. Yeah. But yeah, no, super cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like right now, like we have Lord of the Rings, it's a new product, but like you're saying, so we have Commander Masters coming up, and then there's also going to be the Doctor Who Commander decks as well I believe a couple months. So it's not like right around the corner, but we have some reveals for those coming out, which is going to be exciting.
And there's
and on top of that, oh wait, are there?
Yeah. So this confused me. I wasn't expecting this. The Doctor Who stuff. Wow. There are decks, but you can also get the Commander cards in packs.
What?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing?
I don't know, but like all the cards in the Commander deck are purchasable via packs. So.
Well, I mean, I guess they made how many?
I don't know. I didn't think it was a ton.
Well, because how many decks do they have? They have 4 decks, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it 4?
Is it 4? I thought it was 4. I could be wrong.
I thought it was like 2. I didn't think it was 4.
Yeah, they have Timey-Wimey, Paradox Power, Masters of Evil, and Blast from the Past. Yeah. So yeah, there are 4 different Commander decks. Timey-Wimey, of course, one of them is Timey-Wimey.
Wibbly-wobbly, Timey-Wimey. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there are the 4 different Commander decks. Out of each Commander deck, how many? How many unique cards are there? You're working with 60, 60 non-land cards or whatever.
Usually 15 or so. Like they went a little bit higher in the 40k.
Right.
Lord of the Rings had more reprint focus, but there was like 10 new cards, I think, for each. I wouldn't guess more than 15 for each deck, but
Sure.
maybe it's more different. Maybe it's like secret lair type. I don't know.
Well, so if there are 60 non-land cards in each deck and they're giving them Doctor Who artwork, so even the reprints, if they flavor them Doctor Who style, you've got that's 240 unique cards, presumably spread over the rarities. So I mean, you got a set there, effectively.
That's true, and I guess foiling too. Each of them would have their own version of foiling potential. So maybe we see reprints in here that haven't had a foiling, or haven't received a foiling for some time. Cough, cough, Exotic Orchard.
Yes, that'd be pretty sweet. Well, and then on top of that, though, that also gives them an opportunity to create some kind of showcase, serialized something that can help drive sales. And especially seeing how successful Lord of the Rings was, what are the chances they don't do that? Honestly,
I think we're gonna see serialization. I don't know. Like I didn't mind hearing about serialization when Brothers War came out. That was kind of cool on the retro artifacts. I wasn't the biggest fan of serialization, but I didn't mind it. It was cool. The numbered stuff, like I think it was a cool concept.
Yeah.
Of everything that they have tried in collector sets so far, or collector boosters, I really loved how like All Will Be One was done. The oil slick artwork and with the like special stamp print, I think that was the right way to go. Like those are chase cards and they can be hard to get. Like, Mom oil slick with the oil print on it. That to me was like, that's sweet. I know like serialization is kind of like the same idea as that, but I don't know. I feel better about that than sticking a number on a card and arbitrarily saying this is like the 1 of 500 and asking for $5,000 for this card. Or
well, the thing about the serialization is the cards need to be worth something.
Yeah.
Independent of the serialization, and especially because Wizards is presumably going to continue doing this. It seems to be a hit. And so the more numbered cards that exist of various kinds, the less special they become. And so, like I have one serialized cards, and honestly, I probably should liquidate it because it's not, it's a Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, which is a cool card.
Yeah.
And I mean, I opened it in a pack that I got for going to an event, so I was like, all right, sweet. Like that was, but honestly, looking back on it, it's like, while I was at that event, I probably should have taken it to one of the vendors and seen how much I could have gotten for it on the spot, because the reality is those are going to depreciate more likely than anything unless the card itself is super rare and a chase piece. So like that particular Goreclaw, and the number it's 462. It's not like it's nothing special.
All right.
And there are listings on that online being sold right now for around $200.
Okay.
Which, like, yeah, for a piece of cardboard, that's a lot of money. But for a collectible, like it's not that. Yeah, I'm glad to have it. It's a neat thing. But the truth is, in 2 years, if every single set that they print has some kind of serialized cards in it, what's the novelty is going to be worn off.
Yeah.
We're not going to care. So unless you really want a Goreclaw, then that one having a number on it is not that important and not that special, really.
Or specifically Goreclaw number 462.
I know, exactly. Like if that number is significant to you for some reason, then okay, maybe. But I don't know. In general, it's just one of those things where, it's the most valuable card I own, but only because I'm not chasing collector stuff,
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing in the 90s, unfortunately. Yeah.
Don't we all wish we were?
I know, right?
Duels for days, Lotuses out the wazoo. What a time.
It's funny when people talk about what would you do with the time machine. It was just like, well, it would be really boring.
I'd go buy a box of.
I'd be set. Yeah.
Give me like 3 boxes Alpha. Give me some beta.
Yeah.
I'll grab a couple of unlimited too, just to like spruce it up. Just at that showcase, it'd be fine.
Yeah. No, I would want to go back to like the late 80s so I could establish a game store so I could buy them at wholesale.
Yes.
Grab a whole bunch of the boxes and then just come back.
Make the name of the store too the multiverse, start encouraging people, check out the multiverse. This is where to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you not only have a successful chain of what you could do because you'll be successful, you'll have a direct linkage to Magic. You already have the product, then you're fine. Then you're set. It's million.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sell a PSA Grade 10 Black Lotus.
Done. I mean, there you go. Done. Boom. Set for the rest of That's it.
And like talking the serialization though, so like I don't think we touched on this, but yeah, the One Ring was found. It was
they
located.
found it. It's a thing. The owner at least the last time I checked has chosen to stay anonymous, but they had it graded through PSA.
Yep. And
PSA did send out a notice, like kind of a little press release or at least a tweet saying, "Hey everybody, it has been found. We have it. It has been graded." And interesting enough, it was graded at a 9 out of 10.
Yes. Which, I'll be honest, I think that's actually a fair grading. Like, to put in perspective, a 10 is super rare. Like, you getting a PSA 10 means that it has not received any damage. You opened it in a sterile environment. You were wearing gloves. There is not a ding, a scratch, or a curl. It was in a perfect fit and a slab right away. The fact it was found at a 9 at a pack where at the spot or the store, whatever spot, is actually, I think, perfectly reasonable and fine. Maybe at best, like a 9.5 would have been good to see, but I think the 9 was acceptable.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It is what it is. It's just, it is very funny, I think, that like even that didn't get a perfect 10 because know they handled it carefully. Like,
absolutely.
They had to. But at the same time, when you say like no dings or no scratches, like that can be detected with a jeweler's loupe. Like that's not just a matter of because we've all seen it where like the card will have like the black border on the card will have a little white ding on it. Like we've all seen that where like a little piece is like chipped away, and that happens especially if you shuffle it without sleeves on or something like that. Yeah, yeah. We're having this discussion again. All right. But yeah, so like we've all seen that, and that's not what we're talking about, because like if a card has even one of those, I don't know exactly what the PSA grade scale would be, but we're talking 6 tops, at that point I would imagine.
Yeah, not higher than like a 7. Like a direct cosmetic defect drops it down by quite a bit.
Yeah. So this was handled well, and it got a 9. But honestly, the other part about that is, who cares what grade it got? Like, what difference is that going to make?
It was real. That's the thing. This was a real card. Someone's life has changed for the better. I actually saw a tweet about this. The person that found it, like they didn't go into like their whole economic situation and stuff, but this is something that was actually a benefit for them. Like it's not someone that's of like super rich elite. Like it wasn't a big box store that found it. Like this was just your average type of Magic player who has now found something that can make their life for the better. And I'm glad to hear that it's something like that, because
that's awesome.
Everyone needs a win in life. And for that person, who apparently the winner is actually only like an hour away from me, which is crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, the winner was found in Whitby, Ontario, Canada. An hour away from Toronto, of all places. And I'm like, damn.
Right in your backyard. That rules.
Yeah. Like,
maybe if you had picked up that pack that one day. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But, no, like I looked into like the areas and the stores around. It's not like I would have loved to have opened it. I bought one pack of the set, but the place it was open isn't actually even in the area I usually go to shopping or venture to. So like I didn't have a chance, but like, hey, it's just the fact that it was there and it was in a non-US location, because I think a lot of people assumed it was going to be in US.
I certainly did, if I'm honest. Yeah.
But it was cool to see the fact that it was like, no, it was outside.
Yeah, they said it was North America, and that was true. And it was a North America English pack, and there we go. Yeah, and it's funny because I was fully expecting, like, I wanted it to be this kind of situation. I wanted it to be somebody who has just been loving the game and needed something, needed a win. So I'm glad that's the case. I was fully expecting, it to just be like Star City or, one of these huge retailers to just crack it open and just like, oh, neat, and then just put it up for auction or whatever. And that was exactly what I was expecting. So I'm glad that was not the case.
Oh, same as well. Like, did you hear what was going on with some like big streamers who like, kind of play Magic, but not really?
Well, I saw a video of XQC opening a whole bunch of packs, and the reaction every time he came across a copy of the One Ring was pretty funny because they were just like, "No, that's the normal basic one. Still worth like $50, but seeing as you paid $9 grand for these packs, yeah, no, you have no
Rough
reason to be
investment.
excited." Yeah,
but yeah, there was quite a few. XQC was one, but yeah, there was quite.
I know they were out there. Yeah,
quite a few though, but it baffles my mind in that aspect because like the EV on this set to kind of like MTG finance it, but the EV is not huge. Like you're talking one mythic rare, $50. I think the next highest card is Bowmasters at 40.
That sounds right.
And then after that, it drops down to like 15, 10, and a bunch of $5 commons. Like, this is not a high EV set. Buying a collector box at $500, this is not something to gamble on for a profit. Like, you have to get insane pulls.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Actually, it's funny. Yeah, I just pulled up the MTG stocks looking at the set. And, I mean, the first 5 most expensive cards, it's 3 versions of the One Ring, Orcish Bowmasters, Delighted Halfling.
Ah, yeah, Halfling.
And then the 6th is one of the printings of the Nazgul.
An uncommon at $20.
Yeah.
I love that. The uncommons are worth more than the rares.
The uncommons. Like, I know the Nazgul are good. Don't get me wrong. Like, they play fantastically. There are 9 of them. There are 9 unique arts. I totally understand. And you can have 9 in a deck.
Yep.
So if you want 1, you want 9.
Of course.
This is how it works. And of course, you'd like to get one of each of them. Like, they clearly designed that to be kind of the setup. So I get it, but it's just kind of like, really? That's like one of the money cards in the set? Like,
I gotta laugh. Like, this sucks for the person having to buy the Nazgul. But if you want to make a, like, you know, use the Lord of Nazgul for your commander and make a Nazgul commander deck, you've got to pay $20 for 9 cards. Budget Nazgul?
So
I think not. That's $180 for 9 cards.
And you need to do that. Like, they're critical for the entire deck to function. Yeah. That's gross. Gross. I do appreciate after the Nazgul though, nestled amidst all the printing of the Nazgul is Sauron the Dark Lord. Your boy is is also one of the money cards from the set.
Sauron did nothing wrong. He just wanted to unify the forces of Middle Earth.
I mean, okay. if you're one of those people who's like, was Elish Norn really the bad guy? Then all of a sudden, like, well, you got to really look at Sauron and go like, well,
right?
Was he really? It's like, well, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah. Like,
I mean, it's subjective. It's just a different viewpoint of philosophy.
I don't know. I'm a fan of, you know, like, free will, and being able to like. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I love those discussions when people are like, "Were the Phyrexians really evil?" It's like they were trying to like, you know, murder and take over everything. Like that's. You're asking that question? Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so Sauron, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's clearly the bad guy.
Yeah, no, 100% he is.
He's kind of a dick, if I may say. Anyway.
A little bit.
But yeah, so this you're right though. But as a result, if you spend $400 on a box, or I mean, they were going for $500 at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
What are the chances that you're gonna get anywhere near your value back out of it? Like,
you're just not. Plain and simple, you're just not. And since finding the ring, I do believe collector boxes have gone down in price. Cool Stuff Inc. was running a sale on them. They dropped them down to like $3.19 a box. Some of the places here in Canada have dropped them down. So like, it's been good sales and prices, which is great because like. I'm still of the opinion that set had no business being $500 for a collector box. No, it's really because of the ring. But anyways, I'm glad to see there's some positive impact now.
Totally. Well, and the other thing though that I don't think enough people are talking about, I feel like the One Ring kind of overshadowed it. But the serialized Soul Rings are all freaking awesome.
That's true too.
And those are kind of some big ticket items. And as far as I know, a number of those are still out there.
Quite a few.
You know, Yeah, and those I believe are only in serialized. So like, there's no, if you want a human One Ring or an Elven One Ring, Soul Ring or
yes, it's Soul Ring, yeah,
Soul Ring, yeah. If you want an Elven Soul Ring for one of your commander decks, like those are only serialized. There are only 300 of them.
Yep.
So
yeah,
those are going to be
359, 300, yep. 500, 900.
Yeah, there are 900 humans. There are 300 elves, and I believe 500 dwarves. Is it 5 or 7 with the dwarves?
Maybe it's 7. I know it's 3 and 9, but I can't. Yeah,
I should know this. I should. I absolutely should know
this.
Was
dwarves 7? Maybe it was 7.
Yeah.
One ring in the darkness to bind them. Da 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 da. Trying to remember the
7 for the dwarves. Yeah,
7 for the dwarves. Right.
Thank you, Lord of the Rings wiki. All right. Anyway.
So there you go. Yes, still 700.
So, but yeah, there are 700 dwarven rings. Yeah.
Okay. So like opening collector packs, you can still potentially hit a serialized card.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and those are all still pretty high ticket items. Like I understand. Well, and on top of that, they're freaking Soul Ring. At the end of the day, Soul Ring is. I mean, they've printed probably millions of copies of Soul Rings into existence, and they're still a $2 card, even for just a basic version of them in many cases.
Sure.
And they're in every pre-con ever because Commander players just need a ton of them. We just do. It's an auto include for the most part. So it's one of those cards where if there's a fancy version of Soul Ring, it will retain its value.
I would agree. It's not going to go down. It's a special printing of a card people like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so like everybody who has an elf deck would prefer to have one of those elven rings in their deck. Right?
Oh, that would be so flavorful.
Right? And anybody who has a dwarf deck wants one of those dwarven rings, of course. And yeah, and so those are going to be hot ticket. They just will. Guaranteed. And, I'm totally okay with them printing as many fancy versions of Soul Ring as they want. I think that is perfectly fine. Yeah.
I do have a problem with everything that's kind of gone on in this whole situation, though. Or I guess not a problem, but a worry. So the ring was found, packs were bought. If someone was not a Magic the Gathering player, and they were just simply buying it to get the potential chance for the ring, what is the chance that that person is going to take all their commons, uncommons, and rares and actually sell that back to an LGS versus potentially throwing it out? Because, and I'm talking from the standpoint of someone that may have just like mass bought at like $5,000 plus purchase. Because that's a lot of cards that could help the secondary market bring the prices down. Not make Nazgul's $20 a card.
Oh, for sure. No, and that would be fantastic. I don't know, honestly. No, that's a great question. I want to believe that most of those people would take all that bulk and get it back into circulation somehow. Maybe not, buy list every single one of them and, sell individuals, but at the very least take it to a retailer that can, that does like bulk processing and just get it out there because those services exist. I would hope that people would take advantage of those because there's kind of no reason not to. And as far as I know, it's like instead of just putting it in the garbage, you put it in a box and ship it to them.
Yeah.
And then, in a couple of months, they send you a check and a report of where things sold. So it recoups some of the cost,
but not all of it, right? Like, and that's my worry. Like, personally, like if I did it, like I would trade it back in, but like I'm a Magic player.
Right.
I know that. If I'm not someone that plays the game and I'm just doing it for the hunt, like would I?
I bet a lot of people won't. I bet a lot of people would just shrug it off as a loss and move on.
And think of how many Nazguls got thrown out, how many delighted halflings.
Oh.
Like
that's a depressing thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. Like there was.
That's a great question. I know the answer isn't.
It isn't clear at all, 100%.
It isn't, but it's also it's not zero. There are definitely people who just cracked a bunch of packs, didn't find what they wanted, and just threw them all out and walked away. I'm sure that happened.
Yeah.
And that's really depressing. Now, if I were to if I had really engaged in the hunt at all, I would do the normal Magic player thing of open them all up, think, oh, great, this is X number of dollars worth of value, think about selling them, and then not and hoard them away. That's what I would do. But, with the intent of playing with them and you putting them into commander decks and whatnot. That's how I would do it. But I understand that's not everybody.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same. There would have been a few, like I kept a couple of the one pack I bought, but I sold the rest. Like, instead of buying a collector box of Lord of the Rings, my LGS had a sale on for Dominaria United. It was $200 instead of 300.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so 200 USD. I got a collector box of Dominaria United. I was like, I could use a $200 Tabernacle. I got a better chance opening a Tabernacle than I do the One Ring. So I'm like, let's do it.
Sadly, that's okay. Rock on. Yeah.
I didn't get it. Instead, I got the texturized glass stained version of She-Holder. So like, I got my money back on the box, but like, yeah, it's just
but even that. So one of the things that I find really funny, kind of a kind of logical, I don't know, is fallacy the right word, that we all kind of fall into as Magic players? This expectation that when I buy sealed product, it is reasonable for me to expect I will open the value of that sealed product.
But it is.
But what other things can you buy? What, like, of anything? What can you buy and then sell back for an equal amount of money or more than what you paid for it?
More Magic cards.
Well, fair. And I guess collectibles are kind of their own thing,
yeah,
right? Like,
they
I get that. But I find that funny, the idea when people are like, man, I didn't make my money back. It's like, dude, you bought a thing. And it's like, and frankly, as a Magic player, I look at that, it's like, dude, you bought toys. Like, yeah, of course, like, like they're meant to be played with, And like, I can't tell you how many times I bought collector packs. And like, I'll crack them open and I won't get any significant money. Like March of the Machine was one where I went out and I bought one collector pack of March of the Machine when that came out because I thought the whole set looked absolutely dope. I just enjoyed everything, and I was hoping for an Atali or something like that. And in my collector pack, I opened a Showcase Kagla and Yadaro and a Borderless Sea Double. It's like, these are two dope cards that I'm very glad I have that are both in decks now. Immediately, like day one, they found their way into different commander decks I own. But I spent $25 on that pack, and I got a value of like $450 back. Well, what did I expect? But these are cards I'm going to play. Yeah. So was it a bad value? It's like, well, yeah, kind of, but
you paid for the
experience. It was a fun experience, and I got some good stuff out of it that I'm going to use. I'm not mad,
I should encourage you to do what my friends have learned to do. Have me buy your packs and then get it back to you. I have a joke in my friend groups at this point because everyone's seen stupid luck is the best way to phrase it. I don't know why. My luck with opening sealed product is kind of redonkulous. I either break even or I go ahead. The Dominaria United box, for example, had a stained glass Phyrexian. Sorry, the stained glass edged foil of She-Holder. I went to DreamHack in San Diego and I bought a collector box and a half of All Will Be One. I got 3 Elish Norns of completed foils in 3 different arts, a Vorinclex and an Urabrask, and I would trade them in and buy more packs and trade them in and buy more packs. And like at a Command Fest Montreal last year, I bought a collector box of Double Masters that paid for the next box of Double Masters, that paid for the 3rd collector box of Double Masters, and let me keep a foil Sensei's top of foil Imperial Seal and one of Emrakul Borderless and Ulamog Borderless.
Dang, dude.
It's just... So when we meet up in Vegas and whatnot, have me buy your box.
I was about to say, you're going to be in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm having you open my packs. Okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just... I don't know. I have silly luck. And I would say it's like 90-95% of the time. I won't stay on this tangent long, but like 90% of the time when I open a box, yeah, it works out pretty good. The other awesome. 10%, it's like I break even or maybe I lose like $5-10. If I lose, it's not by much.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
It's yeah.
That rules. I love it. But yeah, we do have Vegas coming up in September. So as of this recording, it's a little over 2 months away.
Yeah, which is crazy.
2.5 or so. Which is nuts. Yeah, it's funny because it feels like it's been this thing out on the horizon that's like a long time away. You know, someday we'll get to Vegas, and now it's like, you know, we're in kind of it's coming up. I mean, it's not right around the corner, but we're getting there. And yeah, no, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to be there, and it's going to be a fun experience. I think. Are there any events up until then that you're going to be at? I know you're definitely are much better at doing the various travels than I am. That's for sure.
Magic wise, I'm not sure. I will be. I mean, personally, I'm heading up to a convention in Montreal next month at Otakuthon for any Canadian listeners.
Nice.
So I'll be there. Not as a guest, just going to cosplay. I'll be there with some friends for the weekend. I do know
Awesome.
Commander Seal is coming up in September.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get there, but
yeah, I would like to get to Commander Sealed as well. I'm very bummed that Commander Sealed and Vegas.
Yeah, they're so close.
Yeah, it's like that's. Yeah. It's unfortunate how it lined up. Yeah.
And like I went to Commander Sealed last year. It was an absolute blast. I want to go. But
yeah,
if it comes down to the line and I gotta choose between Sealed and Vegas, I've never been to Magic Vegas personally, and I'd rather do a donation to Commander Sealed and be like, here's $100 donation. I'm sorry I can't make it, but like do that, support the amazing cause that they're doing, and then head to Vegas to jam some Magic. So like,
that's awesome. Yeah,
that might be what I have to do. Like at least, you know, supporting a cause. But yeah,
no, absolutely. No, and Commander Sealed, it looks amazing, frankly. Like, that event sounds fantastic, and I know, like, I've heard from you and many others that event is just lights out. And in Minneapolis, I had the privilege of meeting Gunner, the guy who is, like, putting on, like, coolest, chillest dude that you could ever meet. And he just always has a great sense of humor. And, you know, so he was kind of breaking down what Commander Sealed is, how it works, and all that jazz. And yeah, he and I actually kind of hung out a little bit and had a good time. And I actually had the privilege of playing a game of Commander Sealed on his stream a little while ago. And that format is incredible.
Yes.
It's where you open, what is it, 30 or no? How many packs is it?
It's 18, I believe. It's
18? Okay.
It's 17 or 18 packs of various different sets. You'll have 3 groups of sets. About 80% of each of the groups is the same, with minor 2-pack differences between groups that go through. So some groups, for example, might get a double Masters. Some might get a Modern Horizon pack. It differentiates in that way, but like, I mean, of the power level, those 2 sets are pretty close.
Right. But yeah, so it was funny, because if you've never tried to build a Commander deck with a sealed pool, it is a unique challenge that is very interesting. And then the game plays out in a very weird way, because you're playing limited. So you're playing... I mean, some of the cards are pretty inefficient at what they're trying to do, ultimately, depending on how deep your pool was. And things get weird. Like, they really do, and it's delightful. And it's funny, too, because a lot of cards end up being... I think a number of cards were from, like, Commander Legends, and so the Monarch got introduced in the game that I was in. Yeah, and my commander, you'd appreciate this, was Mr. Orfeo, the Boulder. I had to go John, baby. I had to. Yeah, it honestly, it's a blast. So... I have no doubt that event is going to be a phenomenal time. And it's one of those where, like, if logistics and ultimately finances work out, I would love to be able to make that happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, being 2 weekends back to back like that.
Yeah, it's tough because it's literally Sealed, Vegas. You have the 5 days in between. I can remember when I went last year. So I opened all my packs. I didn't really have like a good Jund commander I could roll with, or partners that could form. So I actually I had Animar and Miram. And I was like, I didn't have enough dragons just to play Miram. So Animar was my commander, and I had like I had Animar, I had a bunch of other dragons in the list, like 4 or 5. So I played Animar dragons. I didn't win any of my games because Animar gets targeted. So like I lost each one, but I did have like a 8/8 or 9/9 Animar at some points and stupid boards. It was great. Still love the deck, but I often actually hear Gunnar tells me once in a while when people pick their decks to play on the Commander Sealed stream. My deck is one of the most picked of the pre-constructed.
I believe it. Dude, that rules. I love it.
Sweet.
It was fun too, because when he sent me to get in preparation for the stream, he sent me, like, these are the packs, and here's a whole list of pre-constructed decks. You can just grab one if you want. Like, oh, okay, cool. But I was like, where's the fun in that? I gotta do this. And so I went on a couple of different like pack simulation sites and just created a whole sealed pool. So it's funny, if you actually check my Mox field, which is available on my Linktree, you can actually see the sealed pool that I pulled. I created a folder specifically for that, so that's kind of fun. But anyway, we've talked a lot about Commander Sealed. Great event, definitely check them out. But yeah. But Vegas is definitely going to happen. And I know in between now and then there are a lot of command fests and whatnot. And don't worry, everybody, I'm amongst you on looking at all the Twitter photos of all the different events that people are going to, being like, man, that looks really cool. I wish I could be there.
The FOMO is so real. Like
the FOMO is so real. Wow. I mean, when we talk about summer Magic, I feel like right now I feel like there are just events everywhere.
Yeah.
Like absolutely everywhere. We have command fests. There's also a number of creators who are clearly like in a very tight like geographic area.
Yes.
And they're regularly doing collaborations, and it's like, oh, I wish you guys weren't like an 8-hour drive for me. I would love to be hanging out more often.
I had a talk with this actually about with a friend a while back. If you look at them, like not overall like the largest content creators, but a mix of like small to medium, there is about 3 to 4 distinct geographical areas that content creators seem to flock around in the US. No idea why. There is no rhyme or reason. They just seem to be in these areas.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's like like Philadelphia has a pretty large crew.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are in that area. I know like New York, like I think I feel like Buffalo, New York has a ton of people in
does.
it. Like
Toronto's got a few.
Why is that the city that a bunch of MTG creators came out of? Like it's interesting. Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, and then and then I know like there are a lot of the professionals who are out in like the Los Angeles area. I know that's a thing as well. But honestly, those are the folks who are like in legitimate showbiz who also do Magic stuff. So it's like, well, all right, fair enough. Anyway, it's interesting. So as somebody, it's funny because there are a number of other, as a Magic streamer, I live in Michigan, but I'm in Southern Michigan. And so there's nobody near me in the Magic scene, really. There are a number of other Michigan creators, but like I can think of 2 right offhand. One of whom actually is just chilling in the chat right now, who I got the privilege of meeting up in Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doxing him because he hasn't literally tattooed on his arm, but our buddy Jaffer is a fellow Michigan
that's true.
creator. But to give you an idea of how far away he and I are, in Minneapolis, for him it was like a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
For me, it was literally a 12-hour drive because we were on the exact.
12 hours. What?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, because I was going from Southern Michigan, I was going from down here. I had to go down and around the lake and then all the way up through Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, I forget y'all have that lake down in Michigan to get around.
Yeah, we got some lakes that we got to navigate.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Deal. Mm-hmm. It's a thing. Yeah. But anyway, that is But it's interesting because it's yeah.
But
anyway, but yeah, so it is interesting. I do kind of wish it would be nice to be in a more closely knit group of creators, but honestly, I have no doubt there are amazing creators near me. I just need to find them and connect.
You need to send out like not the bat signal, but the Hamhocks signal.
The ham signal.
Yeah,
let's get it out there.
The ham signal.
Yeah. Southern Michigan Magic players. I know I'm not the only person out here who's also on Twitch. Come on, everybody. Where are we at?
Southern Michiganers unite.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah. Honestly, though, and the other thing that I find frustrating too is like with Command Fests and Magic Cons and everything, it has been, I think, like I want to say 3 years since there was a big event I think it was before the pandemic, as far as I know. When there was the last time there was a big event in Detroit.
Yeah,
there was a Grand Prix in Detroit. Yeah. I want to say in like 2019 or 2020, I think it was 2019, and that was the last event that I'm aware of that took place in Detroit, and that's a real bummer because I'm less than an hour from Detroit, so that would be amazing.
That actually, that would be.
So next time there's an event in Detroit, Astros, if you need a place to crash, let me know.
We'll do. I'm not far from Detroit. Like Detroit from Toronto's maybe 2 hours in bad traffic. Dang. Yeah, like Detroit's not far. Like it's really close. It's like, do you hit traffic or not, kind of thing.
Right.
But even like a lot of stuff has been kind of more on the west side and a little less focused on central, I've noticed. Even in Toronto, like we haven't really had like a Magic event except for back in June now. But it's like primarily face to face for us that's like running the events here. I can't even remember the last time we had a. It must have been pre 2020 for GPs. I can't remember the last one.
Yeah. No, it's been a hot minute. Although it's funny that you mentioned that. The idea, it never even occurred to me that you're only like 3 hours away, but I have to re-up my passport. So that's
Get it done. Get it done.
Get it done. Yeah. About to say Landlord's Live.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to do that, right?
Landlord's Live in Vegas.
I'm not mad at that. I'm definitely not mad at that.
I can bring the PC. We can set it up, share a webcam. It'd be fun. It'd be great.
You know, and this fancy camera that it's funny, I bought a really nice camera for my streams. I have never once, like I set it up, I've moved my desk a couple of times, but like I have it set up, pointed in the one spot, and it hasn't moved. And it's like, and I had a moment as I went to Philadelphia and Minneapolis, both MagicCons. And when I was there, I had a moment where I was just doing stuff on my phone, and I realized, like, wait a minute. I have a nice, small, like, lightweight camera at home that's just sitting on my desk. What the heck am I doing? So, yeah.
I'm just sitting here with my Logitech C920.
Nothing wrong with that. That's what I use when I'm doing Commander games. That's my hand cam.
Honestly, for like free.
Yeah, it's like C920, C930, something like that.
Yeah. For like the price range, it's a great webcam. Like it does good, but
I've said this before too. You do good work with it. You have it. Your lighting is dialed in enough so you can't really tell.
That's an expensive cam. That is thanks to friendship and the fact that I learned how to awkwardly position my lights. So, this is off topic, I guess, but like I have 2 ring lights.
Have we been on topic?
Kind of ish. It's summer. Lighting has to do with summer. Summer is sunlight. That it works. It ties in.
Let's go with that.
I have 1 ring light that goes this way, but it's not directly on me. It's on like a 35-degree angle that crosses over to where my microphone is here. And then my other one doesn't shine on me. It's on a straight 90-degree angle back against the green screen. So I get this weird diffusion of radiant light off this way and off this way that creates this section here, but hides the green screen. It's weird. It's weird.
Nice.
I don't know. It's science. Magic. Work. Yeah, magic. Exactly. That's it. It's magic.
It's all magic. At the end of it. Movie magic. Whoosh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Summer magic.
Summer magic, baby. We're here.
We're living it.
So here we are in July.
Yeah.
With no air conditioning, which is why my hair looks a little slick, because it is. Anyway. And I'm in a point right now where if it is like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm like, oh, I can't stand it. How could I? So like it's funny when people who live like out west, like out in California or Arizona, when they talk about like hot weather, like I don't even know, man. I couldn't handle it. The idea of stepping into a car when it has been getting hit with direct sunlight at like 105 degrees Fahrenheit, it's like, no, thank you. That sounds like a miserable experience. You know, like, do you carry like oven mitts or like whatever to open your car door? Like, you'd have to, right? Anyway, I don't know how y'all do it. Anybody out there, like, good on you. Way to make it happen.
It's an experience.
It's an experience, yeah. And so it's one of those things too, where it's like everybody has their own kind of crappy weather, right? Like everybody has their own version of what bad weather looks like. And in those areas, a lot of the time it's the dead heat of summer.
Yeah.
Where like things are nasty. You know, here in Michigan, it's when we have 1.5 feet of snow outside and it's, you know, well below zero. Like that's our bad weather. You know, it's a different type, you know? And anyway.
I think I love when California talks about its bad weather in San Diego. Oh no, it's sunny.
Right.
Oh no, it's 20 degrees. No, I'm kidding.
When it's funny, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My brother lived in Hawaii for a number of years, and so whenever we were on like group chats talking about the weather, he's like, "Oh man, I know it's 75 and sunny. It's rough. I don't know." It's terrible. But then, when they're like hurricane warning, tsunami, it's like, "Are you alive?" Like it's, you know.
He's like, "It's sunny. It's 75 and windy."
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, the weather is gorgeous most of the time, but when it's bad, it's real bad. So yeah.
It was, have you ever listened to Jeff Dunham?
I'm familiar with Jeff Dunham.
Okay.
Yep.
Walter, his puppet, the older fella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a dry heat. Kills me every time.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, Summer of Magic. There's cool events going on. Chat, let us know. What are you hitting?
There's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. If there are events in your area that you're planning on going to, let us know. If you're watching this on the YouTube, let us know in the comments below. If you're live here on Twitch, because we are actually recording this live. Fun fact, if I can peel the curtain back a little bit. Yeah, go ahead and chat to it. We are keeping an eye on the chat, even though we're not like talking. Although I kind of hijacked Astral's stream. We'll get back to the normal action in a minute. But in any event, but yeah, let us know if there are any events in your area that you're hitting up, because there's a ton of really fun stuff happening right now. And it's funny too, because at the local level, there's all kinds of amazing things going on that we're probably not aware of. Like, we're talking about the big ticket items, or even kind of the like mid-size. We talk about Command Fest. Those are like really sizable events that are supported by Wizards. Like, local game stores and everything are hosting, cookouts. They're hosting, different kind of tournaments and all kinds of stuff this time of year. So yeah, let us know what's going on in your area and what you're planning on hitting up. Because honestly, the more I learn about the kind of stuff different communities do, the more I love this community. Yeah. It's
got so much going on. There is literally a way to play this game for everyone at any place. It's a gathering.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So with that, Astrals, for those who are listening, after the fact, where can people find you on the internet, and what can they find when they get there?
Y'all can find me at Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Astralsflame. I'm usually playing Jund and/or decks with dragons, or we're starting some new stuff. Y'all asked for it. I'm doing deck reviews. So Friday nights are me checking out your decks. I'll give them a look over. I might do some suggestions, add in a sideboard, make it best of 3. And Saturday nights, we're jamming them on the rank ladder to see if I did the right calls or the bad calls. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes I can top deck. We don't talk about the other 1% of the time where nothing goes right and I am on a 10-game loss streak, but that's okay.
We've all had those, man.
Yeah, it happens.
No judgment.
It's life, it's magic. And that's what makes it great. But yeah,
absolutely.
New YouTube stuff is coming out. Cool new things are going to be happening, and a whole lot of cool stuff coming in for the next few weeks. What about you, Ham?
Heck yes. So I am Hamhocks42 on all the various and sundry places. I am on Twitch primarily, streaming during the week. I have my own, independent YouTube channel where I do a lot of talking head stuff as well as deck tech videos. I love goofy, janky brews is really where I want to be. So like, I recently posted a historic deck with the Nazgul. I've been doing some stuff where, like, with Goofy Reanimation, there is as of this recording, it's coming soon. By the time you're listening to this, it may already be out. I have a Tom Bombadil historic brawl list that is just as chaotic and fun as you want it to be. So I've got gameplay of that coming out. So, but yeah, so that's over on the YouTubes. I'm also on Twitter for the moment while it's still a thing. Who knows what's going on over there? But those are the 3 platforms that I'm really focusing on at this point. So yeah, would love to see you on all the various and sundry places.
Yeah. So everyone, make sure you drop us a follow, get in on the action, keep your heads up on the next listing, and until next time, pending floods or screws, we are your landlords.